So many of us need healing right now. We know that people are struggling. Mental health is a particularly big piece of that. We know about the violence that is happening in our community. We also understand racial disparities and inequities that are happening. We need a healing as a community. We have to heal together.
It's something I haven't seen before in terms of like having this hotline that you could call, and instead of it being like crisis management or something, it's like, yo, here's this really thoughtful poem for you to like make it through your space. So yeah.
We need to be able to speak softly and wisely to each other. And people need those words of support and care.
We're so separated from each other, and maybe more profoundly, we're separated from ourselves. And the healing verse is an attempt to sort of find ways to reconnect, to find the pathways to wholeness.
Do you not see how your one song, your one breath, one step, your one voice, your one pause, one lift, one shout, one protest brought us here?
There are a lot of resources that don't get provided. There's a lot of dissonance between the people on the ground and the people that are governing us, right? And all of that creates certain situations. All of that leads to certain mental situations that we don't necessarily always know how to have a productive outlet for, right? When we bring in opportunities or resources like the healing verse that are accessible, right? You just need to have a phone. It may not be the cure, but at least it's like, if this is gonna get me from one block to the next safely, I'm gonna make the call type of thing. And I think that's important.
What the healing verse does is it doesn't skip any steps. You gotta name the pain. You gotta name the suffering. You have to say what the problems are. When you do that, you put them front and center. And that is part of the process.
Poetry and mental health, there's a natural connection. One thing that poetry does really well, it expands narratives, it's able to tell stories that are often not heard, and sometimes the stories that people consider on the fringes.
I am my mother's son, which means I know what it is to be restrained, to shackle oneself for someone else's freedom. I know what it is to overflow, to bubble over. I know what it is to love with fear and without it.
Then one of the most important things too is about the reframing of one's story. Same thing with mental health. We're asking people to consider something different. We think about cognitive therapy, and we think about how can we rethink or reframe these situations and circumstances that are happening to us.
The city needs healing, so thus any type of good healing is necessary, useful, should be welcome. Healing verses, healing voices, healing solutions, healing money, healing help, healing opportunities, healing ways, healing communities. I could go on. Let's help each other. Get up.
Poetry really just moves people to feel all kinds of emotions, to really just have this moment of catharsis and just let everything out.
And then it comes, like finding something long ago lost, like a dip in a rare waterfall, this little pleasure of sound.
Poetry gives me a different way of framing an experience and thinking beyond just what happened to what does that mean, what else does it relate to, what else does it make me think of. And I try to find the universal in something very particular.
Poetry provides me a lens to start the process of figuring out what my emotions and the roots of those are. I always tell people poetry is therapeutic, but it's not therapy, right? So writing poems There's not a replacement for you actually going to therapy, but it is a gateway to figuring myself out.
So many people deal with mental health issues, and especially in the Black community, it's really not talked about. And I know for me personally, poetry has just been a great way for me to write about what I'm going through. I know I can just get everything down on the paper and just be authentic and true.
Poetry can help us in these busy, crazy days that we have by, really a pause.
Whatever the day or day before that, the feeling was of son and grandfather sitting.
I think everybody needs to stop and rest a bit and maybe listen to a poem and just have a quieter healing moment.
I love that poetry can be loud and proud and be totally obnoxious in the street if it needs to be. And I also love that it can be soothing and calming and beautiful. It can put the baby to sleep. It can keep you at the block party going. It's magical.
Beautiful, but fleeting. Cotton candy clouds with a blue backsplash, making you believe you can fly. But don't get lost. Just watch the silhouette of the trees waltz with the breeze. The birds perform their glorious symphony.
We all have our stuff. I swear, if we just had everybody got truth serum, and we just sat in a truth circle with the truth serum, and just everyone with the CEOs and the kids on the corners and the grandmoms and everyone, and then we all said we had to speak the truth. Oh shoot, you too? Oh wow, for real? Or like this. Oh really? Tell me more. That's my mission.
When you see I've gone to the place that leaves me quietly undone, you bring me lavender, big bowls on the kitchen table, overflowing on the windowsill, in a teacup by the bed.
What has poetry not done? For me, it gave me a place of safety and a childhood that was scary and violent. It's allowed me to evolve myself into somebody that can make change in other people's lives. I think it's a gift that keeps on giving, poetry.
This is a prescription poem for pain. Take this poem as directed by the Most High in them. Apply this poem as needed. Get your fill of this poem if it cures your pain, until it cures your pain. This poem is yours.